Through the Moon is here. Because we've had to wait so long for Season 4 of The Dragon Prince, not only because of the pandemic, but also because Netflix waited so long to renew the show, Ahas, Richmond, and the rest of the Dragon Prince team have given us all a lovely new Dragon Prince graphic novel to help us wait. It's a beautiful and haunting read with a somber conclusion that raises a lot of interesting questions in regards to what direction Season 4 of The Dragon Prince is going to take. By the end of the comic, Rayla is on her own, having left Callum because she did not want to put him in danger. She believes both her parents and Runan are dead, so Callum is the only person she loves who is still alive, so she wants to protect him at all costs. Usually I'm not exactly a big fan of these "I need to leave you in order to protect you" plot points because they feel rather rote and cliche, but this works for me here for a few reasons. Number one, in these situations it's normally the guy saying this to the girl, so this is a nice role reversal. Number two, Rayla has lost so many people in her life that it actually feels genuine and non-contrived coming from her. And number three, the series, this comic included, does such a good job of getting us invested in the relationship between Rayla and Callum that when they're separated, it devastates us. Now, I'm going to talk about the implications of this ending, but before that, let us take a step back and consider the comic more broadly. Through the Moon takes place after the end of Season 3 and before the start of Season 4. We don't know whether there will be more comics like this in the future, or whether this is just a one-off to compensate for the fact that The Dragon Prince is not going to release a season in the calendar year 2020 because of all the factors I've mentioned before. It's a long wait for us as a fan community, but thankfully, The Dragon Prince has actually released a lot of material this year, even if we're not going to be getting a full fourth season until probably 2021. We've gotten the Dragon Prince art book, we've gotten Callum's sketchbook, we've gotten a novelization of the events of Season 1, but this is the most important thing, because it sets up Season 4. This starts with Team Callum having to travel to the Moon Nexus in order to revive the Phoenix Fifi. That sounds innocent enough, but it quickly grows more dire than that. As they travel through the Moon Nexus, they realize that they're in a sort of limbo state between life and death. As someone who loves this surreal, dreamlike, visually imaginative stuff, I love their travels. Do I wish we got to see a little more of this environment? Yeah, of course, but I'm still satisfied. The imagery in the graphic novel is very eerie and skin-crawling, even at the beginning of the novel, wherein Rayla has this terrible nightmare in which Viren, having defeated her parents and Runan, is now after Callum. Of course, it's not all gloom and doom. The moments between Rayla and Callum near the start of the graphic novel are very sweet. You want them to be together. They give each other the peace they have always longed for, but sadly, it is not to be. Through the Moon is Rayla's story more than it is Callum's, and while your mileage may vary as to whether that switch in perspective works for you, it certainly worked for me. we've spent so much of the series primarily in Callum's point of view. Yes, the Dragon Prince is an ensemble show, but Callum is definitely the main character. He's the one who gives us a window into this world. But the switch to Rayla gives us a much different perspective, and I like that. She's constantly terrified as she travels through the Moon Nexus, and though she tries to deny it, it's quite evident from the look on her face to how she consistently behaves throughout the comic. Against what she has said, part of her believes, or at least wants to believe, that her parents and Runan are still alive. We, the audience, have a pretty good idea that they are in Viren's coins, but Rayla does not know this. And the fact that she cannot find closure regarding the fates of her parents is terrifying. With all due respect to Ezrin, Soren, and the other members of the group, Callum is the only one she travels with where she feels affection that's anywhere near as strong as the warmth she exhibited toward Runan and her parents. While we don't know exactly what Rayla's relationship with her parents was, and I kind of think, based on what we've seen, that they're in part responsible for how emotionally repressed she is, she still cares a lot about them. Especially compared to the rest of Elven society, which holds her to be a traitor. So she doesn't get closure regarding her parents, and even worse perhaps, she does not get closure regarding Viren. She wanted proof that he was dead, and she does not receive this. Now, we must admit that she has no practical reason to assume Viren is still alive. It's not like Season 3 of Avatar: The Last Airbender, wherein Zuko, despite seeing the Avatar go down, has reason to believe the Avatar is still alive because Katara introduced him to the water from the Spirit Oasis at the North Pole, water that has the power to heal things that otherwise could not be healed. For Rayla, it's not like that. It's just an instinct, but it turns out to be right. Viren is there in this strange cocoon. Again, the graphic novel traffics in otherworldly and surreal imagery. It's utterly enthralling. I want to see more like this in the show proper. Anyway, Rayla's experiences leave her shaken. She is despondent and disoriented. She believes that Viren's alive, so she wants to chase him down and kill him for real. But she does not want to endanger Callum, so she leaves Callum behind. I must admit, I did not see this coming. Rayla leaving, I mean. Not because it doesn't fit her character. No, this is exactly what she would do if placed in this situation. It's just that it leaves the comic so open-ended. How are they going to handle this in Season 4? We have not returned to the status quo. Things are much different than they were at the end of Season 3. And while Dragon Prince diehards like myself and y'all were always going to buy this comic, the largest part of the audience of this show is not going to buy this comic. They are not going to have any idea what happened in it. So what are you going to do? Are you going to tell the mass audience that watches and loves this show that they'll need to buy a comic to see what went on between Season 3 and Season 4? Also, Ahaz has hinted that there is going to be a significant time gap between Season 3 and Season 4, as Season 3 kind of marked the end of one major third of the show. He divides the show into 3/3. Third one is like Seasons 1 through 3. Third 2 is Seasons 4 and 5. And third 3 is 6 and 7. So we're at the end of 1/3, and we're gonna leap ahead before Season 4, so how is that going to factor into the path this show takes going forward? What I'm getting at is that you can't exactly start Season 4, wherever you do start it, in time, and have Rayla gone with no explanation given as to why. It would be abrupt to those who had not read the comic. It would be alienating. So to solve this problem and prevent this alienation, there are two major options. Option 1, start Season 4 with Rayla returning to the group, having failed in her quest to track down Viren. That would certainly close the loop the comic left open. But then there is also the more interesting choice of having Rayla gone as the season opens and only having her reunite with the team midway into the season. Explain what happened in the comic briefly, and start the season in medias res with Rayleigh chasing down Viren. Her story would, for the first part of Season 4, run parallel to the story of Callum and the rest. We'd split time between them each episode, and gradually they would be brought back together. Splitting them apart is a great way to make them reflect on their relationships. If we're lucky, we might even get an episode like Zuko Alone for Rayla, where she's alone trying to track down Viren, and there could be two stories. One is the chase, and the other are moments in her past that inform her mindset as she chases Viren. It could be really interesting. Now, if they do separate Rayla and Callum, I do not think the separation will last. But it will be fascinating to see if the events of the comic have any lasting consequences on the events of the show itself. It's going to be really exciting. I can't wait. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching The Dragon Prince. It is a brilliant, thoughtful, empathetic show. Check out the supplementary material if you haven't already. It's really good, and it does a lot to expand the world of this show. If nothing else, it'll help you prepare for Season 4, which I assume is going to be very good, as the show has only been getting better with time. Season 2 is better than Season 1, and Season 3 was even better. So it'll be really exciting when the show comes back, whenever that is. For now, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.